Hey guys, thank you again for hopping on our Tuesday workshop today. Cohen's going to go over that specifically, but today we will be going over how to do overview of the CRM and opportunity as well. Cohen, you want to take over from here?
So for the second quarter of this year, we are going to be going over a variety of things. For this first month, we are going to be going over core CRM and communication mastery. So that means for this week, right now, we are going to be going over advanced CRM and contact management. For next week, which would be April 8th, we are going to be going over advanced calendar and appointment workflows. For April 15th, we are going to be going over email marketing, automation, and segmentation. For Tuesday, April 22nd, we are going to be going over SMS and multi-channel communication. And so that is for the month of April. There is April 29th, but for month 2, we are going to be going over automation, funnels, and website optimization. So that would mean for the 29th, we're going to be going over workflow mastery and advanced automations. And for May 6th, we're going to be going over funnel building and conversion optimization. May 13th, website design and SEO optimization. May 20th, membership sites and course creation. And that is it for month 2. For month 3, we are going to be going over reputation integrations and scaling. So that would include for May 27th, advanced reputation management. For the month of June 3rd, PI integrations and custom development. For June 10th, scaling your business with BM tools. And for June 17th, we're going to be going over advanced reporting and analytics. And that is it for the second quarter for OPM Tool Workshop.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Cohen. Once again, you probably have noticed that Mustafa is not on the call today. He is currently on vacation. I know I do give vacations to my team. But I'll be taking over his spot today. Like Cohen was saying, what we'll be going over today is advanced CRM and contact management. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really fast. So on this account right here, this is just a dummy account showing that we use for example purposes like this. Right here, we have some dummy data that we just put in there. Right now, we have roughly 101 contacts in there. In this video, we're going to go specifically over contacts and opportunities. With contacts, this will give you an overview of all the different contacts that you have inside your software. And if you actually click on one of these contacts, you can see more in depth on that specific contact, whether it be their first and last name, phone number, emails, or if there's any specific information that you want to go over on their account, you can add that into there, specifically custom fields, which we'll be talking about that later. Additional section is the conversation section right here. Any type of conversation that you had inside the software, whether it be email, text message, phone calls, call recordings, Facebook messages, whatever it might be, that could show up right in there. Makes it very nice to keep all the different channels that you're talking to this person all into one place, and you could still conversate them to them through all those different channels, whether it be the email, text message, making a phone call to them, whatever it might be. And then the third column that you see right here is more like the activity section. So if they came from your website, that will show some data inside of here. If you have any tasks for that person, tasks will also show up on here. Any additional notes that you might have on this person will show up in here. By the way, there are two notes section, I guess you could call it, notes on the sidebar, and then there's internal comments as well. Very similar to notes, but the only difference is internal comments actually show up inside the conversation tab. So if you've been going back and forth, you might see a comment show up inside of here. In fact, pretty sure I could even show it. Test comment. Cool. And it'll show up something like this. This won't be visible to the actual customer. This is more for internal use. Very similar to how notes is, but notes just stay on the sidebar and they stay there into one section, whereas internal comments actually go with the flow of the conversation that you've been going back and forth with the customer. Let's say the reason why you might want to have this is, let's say you had an impersonal conversation with them. Maybe you went to a networking event in your area, talked to that person, and you want to just add some notes into it. So that way it shows the history of the conversation you had with them rather than just having into the notes section right here. But both are used pretty well. If you need to book an appointment with that person, booking appointments can be used on the sidebar as well. Any documents or contracts that you have with the person will show up inside of here in this section. And you can add any type of file. It could be internal files. It could be public documents that you want to send over to them. Let's say graphics design. You could add inside of here. So that way there's a portal for them to access to view those documentation. And then any contracts as well would also show inside of here. And it will show up inside the invoice payment tab as well. Any type of invoices that came through the software for that specific contact will show up inside of here. And if you have any associations could be like custom objects. Maybe they are, let's say, a real estate broker, and then you have real estate agents underneath them. And then underneath that real estate agent, you have multiple listings that you're trying to sell. This is where you can have these custom objects involved to put those relationships together. I'm not going to talk too much into that. That goes really advanced, but that's just an example of how the contact section works. The other section we'll be going over today is the opportunity tab. Opportunity tab, I like to think of it as like almost like a Trello board if you've ever worked with that. HubSpot has something very similar as well, where you're able to keep track of all your different sales leads and sales pipelines that you're going on and making sure nothing falls through the crack. This is very nice because you could customize it to whatever works best for your business. So for example, in this account that we have a sales lead pipeline and an inbound leads pipeline. If you want it to be something completely different, that's totally okay. No problem at all. You just go into pipelines. You could create a brand new pipeline, or you could edit existing one. If you edit existing one, you might see a bunch of different stages where you can add, move it around, delete, show up on the dashboard, which we'll talk about that in later workshops. But that basically gives you a way to keep track of all your sales leads, or if you already have current jobs that you're working on, you could keep track of where they are at in the process. I know for our office, we like to use it as like a task board as well, including as a sales board too. But that's the two parts that we'll be showing inside of this workshop today. Next thing I'm going to go over is how to import a CSV file into the software. Now, with that being said, it sounds very simple, but we get a lot of requests almost every single week of how to import lists. Can we help them with that? Some things are not going through. There might be some error messages. So I just want to go through those steps to make sure that everyone is well aware about that and how to accommodate for those situations. So I do have a CSV file. It's also some dummy data, no real information. About 200 contacts. 100 of these contacts are already inside the software. So I'm actually going to show you what will happen if it's updating a contact, what will happen if it's adding new contacts, and then what will happen if it's related to duplicate content. I have 3 right here. 2 of them have the same email and phone number. And then the last one has a field that doesn't properly fit the format of what that column is, which is phone numbers. So I'm going to show you what will happen for each one of those. All right, so how you import it, all you got to do is click on this little icon at the top, import contacts. You have the option of adding it to your contacts list or adding it to the opportunity board. In this case, we're just going to add it as a contact. We're going to choose that file. Please note, a lot of people have issues with this. It must be a CSV file. It cannot be a Google Sheet. It can't be a Excel file. It has to be a CSV file for it to work. So we'll find that document, add those contacts in there, and you have the option to doing 3 things, either creating new contacts, create and updating contacts, or just updating existing contacts. In this situation, since half that data is already inside the software, we could do either or. We could add just those 100 that are not in the software, update the 100 that are in the software, or add the 100 and update the 100 inside the software. In this case, I'm just going to do create and update, but you do have that option right there. Next thing is it's going to check for existing contact, making sure that no duplications are allowed inside the system. If you ever want to turn it off where you allow duplications, some people want that, you can just go into your setting option and turn that off. But in most cases, you don't want to duplicate your contact. And if you want to make sure of how you check on duplications, you just go into settings and scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see this section called contact deduplication preference. Will it go by the phone number? Will it go by the email? Or will it go by only one of these options? So it could be just phone numbers, it could be emails, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to go back to my original settings, and now we're going to go ahead and add those contacts in there. All right. Next thing it's going to make us do is plug and play the data according to the CSV file to the fields inside the software. Most of the time, it's going to try to figure it out on its own. First name, pretty easy. Last name, email, phone, tag. In this case, it was almost a perfect scenario. Sometimes you might have to try to figure out which field it needs to go into, or it might try to add it into a field that you don't want to go into instead. So for example, let's say you don't want to add into the email section, you want to just add into additional email section. And same thing for a phone number. You could also do the same thing right here where you add it to the additional phone section. That's one way you could do it. I'm not going to do it in this case, so we'll just keep it at email and phone. So this is very important because this will actually plug and play the data from your CSV file into the correct fields inside the software. If you do not want to upload a specific field, just check this box right here. If one of these fields are not being used, this little checkbox at the bottom will say don't import data into one unmapped column. As long as you check that, it won't import those columns that you don't want to import in. So let's go ahead and add that. Perfect. Then we'll go to next. In here, it just gives you an overview to make sure that you're putting in the data correctly. But if you do want to add it to a smart list, which we'll talk about in a little bit, add to a workflow, which Colin will be talking about here shortly, or adding additional tags, this is also a place where you could do that. Right now, we've already added the tags into the software, so we're good now. So we don't need to do these steps, but these options are there if need be. Once you're ready, you just click on the checkbox at the bottom saying I confirm all contacts in the import have consent to hear from us. Well, this is dummy data, so it really doesn't matter. They're not real phone numbers and emails, so we're good. So we'll start the bulk import. All right. If we go back to the contact tab, if you want to check the status of the work that you just imported, you go to bulk action and it'll show it right there at the top and any other additional bulk action that's happened in the past. It's going to be processing for quite some time. So I'm going to go on to the next step while this is working, which is custom fields. Let's say there is a specific field in your data that is not currently inside the software. Let's say you need something like additional addresses or 3 emails that you need to add into the software. So something like that, very simple that you could do is you go down into the settings. We'll scroll down until we see custom fields. Inside of custom fields shows all the fields that are associated within a contacts. You could have a company name, phone, email, website, address, state, city, description, postal code, country, and so much more. And then you could disseminate that data between folders. For example, in this case, we have contacts, general info, and additional info. I'm going to go ahead and create a additional folder. We'll call it a test folder. And we'll keep it under the object contacts. If we go into this test folder, we'll go ahead and add an additional field. Let's say it's just an additional phone number. So phone 3, perfect. And we'll just go ahead and add another field called email as well. So single email 3. Another thing that you could also add that people don't realize is, let's say you need to upload some files to a contact, like let's say a contract or maybe some photos or logos or whatever it might be. You can also attach that to a contact as well. It just has the option right here of file upload. And then you just click on next, and then you'll be able to choose from PDFs, Word docs, JPEGs, PNG, GIFs, Excels, or all the above. And if you need multiple documents, you could turn on this one where it allows multiple files and choose the max file limit, which could be 100 or 10, whatever it might be. I'm going to hold, well, actually, we'll go ahead and keep this because we're going to delete it afterwards. And we'll say 2. Save. Oh, we got to call it something. File upload. There we go. Awesome. So now we just created 3 custom fields for contacts. So if we go into any contacts now, let's say this one right here, and we scroll down to test folder, which was the folder that we just made. Now we have those 3 additional fields that we added: phone 3, email 3, and file upload. Cool. Now that we've made, took a little bit of time for it to import, let's go back to bulk action and see where we were left off. Looks like it's still processing. Let's see where we're at. We do have some error messages, which is good. Still have 47%, so we'll move on to the next step for the time being. And then hopefully by the time we finish this next step, it will be completed. So next step that I want to go over is building smart lists. Now, the reason why you would have a smart list is so you don't have to look at your whole contact list. You can literally just click a button at the top and it will only show those specific ones. So let's say you want to make a smart list specifically for leads. Well, all you got to do is go to more filters and choose that specific tag. And we'll say, all right, lead right there. And we click on apply. So now on the filter, it will only show the contacts that have the tag lead. Now we could create a smart list at the bottom, save as smart list, call it leads. And now it will create a tab at the top called just leads. So instead of going through all your contacts, which was in this case just 101 at the moment, you'll also have a leads tab, which only shows the 21s that were marked as leads. So that way you don't have to go through all of them. Now you could quickly do bulk actions like saying a bulk text, bulk email, putting them into an automation, or adding them into a pipeline pretty quickly from here, or adding additional tags if need be. So very helpful. The nice thing about this is initially it's only a smart list for yourself. However, if you want to share it to the whole group or to specific people, you can also do that as well. All you have to do is click on Manage Smart Lists. Click on that specific smart list you want to update, share smart list, and you can share with multiple people. In this account, we only have one actual user in it, which is Jeff. But if I want to add, let's say we had 10 people, I could just select 5 people if I wanted to. And cool, now it's shared to everyone. And since I pressed this button at the top, where it says share with all users, if we add more users down the road, they'll also have access to it as well. So cool. So you could have private smart lists or public smart lists. Awesome. But I see that it is working now. We see some that were created. We do have a couple of errors, which was perfect. So we'll come back to that in just a minute. The next thing I want to show is how to import your contacts onto the opportunity board. So that way you can actually track those sales leads. Well, since we have leads right here, instead of adding all of these contacts to the opportunity board, why don't we just add just the leads onto the opportunity board? Perfect example of how to use this. All right. And then, by the way, if you haven't noticed, initially we only had 21 records in here. Now we have 27. So the nice thing about this is these are dynamic smart lists. So anytime a contact gets that tag lead, it will automatically move it to the smart list. So it's not a static smart list, it's a dynamic one. So it will automatically update to whatever those contacts meets those criteria. So very nice to know. All right, so let's go ahead and import it to the opportunity board. We're going to click this icon right here, pipeline change. Select pipelines, we'll do sales lead. Select the stage, we'll call them new leads for right now. Opportunity name, we could put it whatever we want, or we could add a custom field in here. But for right now, we'll keep it blank and it will automatically put the person's name in there instead. Opportunity source, we could keep this blank, especially if they already have an opportunity source to them. It will automatically populate with that. But if we want to give it a generic one across the board, we could call it like dummy data. Lead value, we could put a value to them as well. I'll go ahead and put like, let's say 97. Opportunity status is open and testing. By the way, action section is just a notes of what's going on. Testing on adding contacts to board. And then if we go back to bulk action, now we should have another part, testing on adding contacts to board. And we see that the 200 sample contacts has completed, which we could check the stats and see that 107 were successful, 95 have errors. We'll talk about that just in a second. Let's go back to the opportunity board and see if they were added. We put them into the sales lead. And as of now, we can see that we have 34 new opportunities for the value of $3,298 because each one has $97 in value. If we start moving some of these, let's say we put some over here, put one right here, put two right here, put another one right there, and start moving over. And we'll say, let's say, put this in sold, mark this as 1, and then go ahead and put these as lost, and mark this one as lost. Well, now we have some stats that we can actually work with. You might see that they're disappearing. That's because we have a filter on right now. This is also a problem that a lot of people have. Check your filters to make sure that you don't have any filters on. Like, for example, status is open. This means that lost and won will be hidden. So delete that and it will show those opportunities right there. So we got these right here and deferred as lost, and we have a service sold 1. Now, why did I do that? Well, if I go back to the dashboard, now we got some actual stats right here. We have 34 contacts inside the opportunity board. We have 31 that are open, 2 that were lost, 1 that was won. Value was about $3,300 inside the pipeline. We could see that currently we've won 97, lost 194, and roughly 3,000 is still open. And we can even see our conversion rate. So now we actually can work with these data to see how well our business is working because we're updating the opportunity board correctly. And that's how you import to the opportunity board and start using it right away. Now that we know that the bulk action is done for the context, let's see what happened. So I knew there was going to be some errors in here. So that's why I am not worried too much. Although there is a lot more errors than I thought, though. So let's check to see what happened. I wonder if there's spaces in here. Sometimes if there's spaces inside, oh, well, actually, let's look at one. So this one had an error. It was under line 1. The identifier was SGREIG. Okay. And that's that one right here. So is there something different about this one than the rest? 872.187.327.2A. Oh, I think I know. So they have made some updates to our software where it'll actually track to see if it's a legitimate number. If it's not a legitimate number, it won't populate inside the system. And that could be exactly what happened here. So that's kind of cool. So for example, if I put in a number 850.123.4567, it's not going to allow it to import into the system because that's not a legitimate number. But if I do 850.525.1234, there is a possibility that might be a legitimate number. So that's why they're doing that. Cool. And then we see that some of them were successful as well. And then we could track all the data inside of here. And if we go to the smart list, we now have about 158 records in there. Perfect. And they have all their tags as well. So that's how you import your contacts and check on the error messages to see what's going on with your account. Now Cohen's going to take over to talk about how to utilize the custom fields or tag into the workflows, and then how to reach out to us for any support requests too.
As Oren has said before, we did go over tags for just a brief moment, but tags are not only useful within the context tab, they can also be used in the automation tab. So as you can see on the right-hand side, it says not interested, lead, not interested, sold. This can actually be used as a catalyst for some of our workflows. So if we go to automation, then we click on create a new workflow. Let's start from scratch. And let's try to utilize the tags for some of these contacts. So let's say update opportunity, because we want to update any tags that are not interested to deferred within the pipeline. So hit save. And very first thing, we want to go to our settings. And since we're going to be working within the pipelines of our opportunity board, we want to click on allow multiple opportunities, and we do not want to allow multiple opportunities. Then going back to the builder, we want to set our trigger. What will our trigger be? Well, let's see. Let's look up tag here in contacts, contact tab. Let's add filter. If the tag is added, if not interested. If the not interested tag is added, then it will trigger this workflow. Next, we want to choose our action. What would our action be? Well, let's try to search for opportunity, create and update opportunity. Within the pipeline, let's choose sales pipeline and update it to deferred. So with just this simple workflow, if a contact is updated with the not interested tag, it will then go down the list and go down to create or update opportunity, and it will put that contact within the deferred stage of the opportunity board. And I will show you that in just a second. But first, we want to hit save. We always want to save after every single action that we do within here. Then we want to click on publish so that it will actually activate the workflow and make it do what it's supposed to rather than put it in draft where it will remain inactive. So click on save again, then go back and let's try to go to our opportunity board. Go to opportunities, then go to the sales lead, which is the pipeline that we chose. Let's try to see if we have any filters on. Yep, let's clear all those filters. And let's remove these from deferred just so that we can see if there are any new ones. Then we want to go to contacts. Then let's choose one that does not already have the not interested tag. Let's go with Lori. Okay. Scroll all the way down. We want to remove the lead tag and put not interested. And then it'll save. Let's head on back. Then we can go back to the opportunity board. And it should, in just a few moments, pop up.
You have your filter on.
Oh, that's true. Nope, it's still there.
Are you in the right pipeline? It doesn't. Maybe.
Sales lead. It is sales lead.
Oh, okay. Well, you should have at least 3 because I added 3.
Well, I removed 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I removed 2 of them. I'm going to add not interested tag to one of the contacts.
All right. Check your automation and let's see if it went through.
Okay.
Good. All right.
Lori Custard. So as you can see, it did work. It just wasn't showing up at the time. It does need time to load, but Lori was updated to the deferred stage within sales lead.
Let's check it out. So go back to the builder.
Okay.
And then, so basically you add the tag. What happens under create or update opportunity? They get added to the sales lead, deferred. Awesome. And then we go back and then we'll go to opportunity. Yeah, it probably just needed some time. And your filter's back on again. Interesting.
Anyways, as we could see,
click on advanced filter.
Anyways, as we could see in the enrollment history, it did update. It just the opportunity board needs some time to load before it'll actually show up. But yeah, that is a simple way that you can use tags to your advantage within your workflows. Obviously, it was a very simple workflow. It really depends from business to business and what your goal is for these tags and for your custom fields. But there is a wide array of things that you can do with them, and it is an overall very intuitive system. But yeah, that is overall all that we had for contact management. I do want to thank you all for showing up. This is the outro, and I do want to show you all some articles and other features that are available to you in case you run across any issues within OPM tools. So if you see in the bottom right corner, you will see this blue icon widget, and this will bring up the support knowledge base. The support knowledge base basically has a ton of articles available to you about OPM tools. If you're running across any issues, or if you want to learn more features about OPM tools, this is where you would want to go. And if you click on this chat icon right here, this will bring up the 24/7 live chat service. You can contact us anytime outside of our work hours, and it'll help you with anything that you may need. If they can't help you, feel free to go scroll down on the left-hand side and go to submit request. Within submit request, if you fill out all the fields, this will basically send us a notification about your issue that you're wanting to meet with us, and it'll put it on our calendar, and we would be more than happy to set up a Google Meet with you. So if you want to set up a meeting face-to-face, this is where you'd want to go. And if you want a bigger screen for the support knowledge base, here it is right as well. It has the exact same articles available to you as the little icon right here, just on a larger scale. But yeah, I do want to thank you all for coming today. It is a new quarter for OPM Tools Workshop, so a lot more resources to go over, and we hope that you'll continue being with us every single week.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.